Welcome back to We Mean Business. I'm Steve Dorfman here with Toni Marchanti, and today's guest is Gerhard Schwandt of Management Partners International, the efficiency experts. And Gerhard brought along a few toys with him today that he's going to now show us how these apply to efficiency and illustrate the struggle that we all deal with and how to start grappling, or how to start getting through it, getting past it.
Right. You know, in advertising, there is a method of advertising called positioning. You position your product with something that's very well known, and that, you know, makes your product people can relate to it. Mm-hmm. I use the same thing in the efficiency coaching. I help you to relate better to what you have in front of you. A desk is not just a desk. A desk is actually the Autobahn.
All right, got it.
Yeah, Autobahn is just a German word for interstate highway.
Okay.
Right? So if you look at your desk like the Autobahn, things have to be able to flow. You know, you can't have like all kinds of clutter on your desk because that is not conducive to things flowing.
Yeah, at 150 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that makes it very treacherous, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if your desk has, or your Autobahn has 2 lanes in one direction, and in the left lane you have a Porsche, and in the right lane you have a truck. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is how it should be. Now, one of the major differences between the two of them is speed. Your Porsches are the ones that are going really fast, and your trucks are the ones that are lumbering, especially in Germany, because for trucks the speed limit is 50 miles an hour, period, no matter where.
Okay.
Can never go faster than that. So if your Porsches stay in the left lane, and if your trucks are staying in the right lane, you're in good shape. But what happens if the truck goes into the left lane? Right? Now all of a sudden that Porsche has to hit the brakes, and every other one behind it has to hit the brakes. Now all of your processing has slowed down. Right? Mm-hmm. So you have to know what are your Porsches and what are your trucks. Communications are usually your Porsches. Requests for information. Right? Those are your Porsches. You have to answer them first. You have to process them first. Mm-hmm. Trucks are usually projects that you're working on that are going to take some time. Right?
Okay.
So they come secondary, unless there is an absolute time restriction for that, for one of them. Now, sometimes your Porsche can have a flat tire, or getting a flat tire, and then you have to do something. You can't fix it in the left lane because obviously that would be very dangerous. Right? Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to pull over to your shoulder to fix the flat tire. Mm-hmm. In business terms, that means you are actually working on a task, and the task is getting delayed because the person that you talked to said, well, I don't have the information, I have to get back with you, I'll call you back later on today.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
So you have to have one place on your desk where you keep those. It shouldn't be this pile, or that pile. It should be just one place, and that is your pending basket. That's all that goes in there. That's where you keep those tasks, mm-hmm. right? And as soon as the tire is fixed, the person calls you back, you pull it out of there, and now you're moving on again, and this thing is being taken care of. Mm-hmm. Your truck driver, on the other hand, cannot just pull over to the shoulder and take a nap there, because parking is illegal on the shoulder.
All right.
Right? So your pending basket is never a storage space. By the end of the day, that basket must be empty. Right? However, you do need a parking lot for your trucks, for your projects when you're working on them, and now you have to stop working on them. So you have to have a parking lot off your highway, off your desk. Mm-hmm. That can be a set of hanging files, that can be a basket. That's fine. A place where you know any of the projects that you're working on is in that place and that place only. Make sense so far?
Yeah, so far good. So far so good.
Good. Now, once in a while, you have an emergency vehicle coming up from behind. Right? So what does your regular traffic have to do? It moves over to the shoulder and it's stopped. So you're not doing anything with your regular traffic. Now you're focusing only on this one, mm-hmm. the emergency. Mm-hmm. Right? And obviously you want to push it through as quickly as possible, because if this takes a long time, guess what happens with your regular traffic? They have flashing lights on them too. Mm-hmm. And then you have one of those days where everything is one emergency after another. And these days are not fun. They're not, right? So you want to avoid them. You want to push this through as quickly as possible. But what is being missed usually is that once that emergency is being addressed, there's an additional step that should be done. And that step is review the emergency. Why did this come into existence in the first place? And how can you prevent it from now on? There are usually 2 reasons. One is either it was outside generated or it was inside generated.
All right. Okay.
If it's outside generated, what steps can you put into place to prevent it? The extra phone call, the extra sentence on your instructions that you send to the person, make sure that you do this. If that could have avoided that, well, that's what should be in place then. If there's no way you can avoid emergencies, and you have some of them coming up that are pretty similar to each other, then take a look at what steps can you have in place in your organization to facilitate these emergencies and push them through as quickly as possible. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now the other one is it's inside generated. Well, obviously somebody dropped the ball. Right? Now find out who dropped the ball, correct that person, and then put a policy in place for your organization saying, well, if C happens, the next step is D, not F. Right? So make sure that that also limits these emergencies to the least amount possible.
Okay.
Right? And in addition to that, you have one more, and that's a Formula One race car. Ta-da! Right? Now, those are nice cars, but they are illegal on public roads, except in Monaco, and then only in the springtime for 2 weeks. Yeah. So what's coming on your desk in your area is something that shouldn't be there. Could be one of two things. Somebody just is wanting to chat, coming in your office, going, "Oh, Steve, blah 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 blah," right? Well, you don't want that person there because you're focusing on getting your work done. But you also don't want to upset the person going, "Get out of my office," right? So you have to work out the way that will get the person to leave your office and still, not feel upset about it. Whatever way you work out.
Yeah.
And, hey, look, I really want to talk to you about this. How about over beer tonight, or, afterwards we sit down.
Can I just show him the Formula One car and say, "Hey, you're looking in the mirror right now"?
You could, yes. Right, if he understands what it means, right?
Right.
But the other one is even more important because this is one where somebody is coming into your office and asking you to do their job. Here they're coming saying, "I have this problem. You need to handle it." Okay? And being the CEO of your company, you are supposed to address the problems of your company, not the problems of the employees. They're supposed to be able to handle their own problems. So here you now have to work out a way to turn this around into something positive. And the way to do it is ask them or tell them, "Listen, I understand you have this problem and I definitely want to help you with it. But let me help you in a way that is beneficial to both of us. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down what the problem is. Be specific, but don't write a book. Bullet points is fine. Yeah. Then I want you to know how you would solve that problem. Right? And then turn it over to me. I'll review it. Based on my experience and knowledge, I can tell you that whether this is going to work or not. If it works, I'll just check it off, so go do it. And if you miss something, I will actually point out what you missed so you can incorporate that. And this way, you become more competent. And isn't that what you want to be?"
Very good.